Hi, my name is Aaron and I am a master electrician with High Five Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric. Today we're going to be talking about installing a dimmer that is rated to work with LEDs inside the home. We choose products from Legrand, which is an amazing company. Generally, we tend to find much better just quality of product right off the shelf versus what you can find in some bigger box stores. But we're going to get this guy installed today. It's going to allow us to control the lighting levels inside the room that we're going to be working in much better. And it's going to allow us just more control over the comfortability in the home. Okay, so we are looking at replacing a regular switch today with a dimmer switch. One of the first things that we're going to want to do is expose the switch so we can see if it's got power or see what we need to do moving forward. We're going to pull the screws on the cover plate here so we can get it removed off the wall. One of the things that you want to be considerate of when you're doing this is a lot of the time people will paint over these cover plates. So you want to be careful when you're taking it off and make sure that you're not peeling any paint. If you do peel any paint, you can always pull your razor knife and cut around the cover plate before you take it off. One of the first things that we're going to do with the switch is verify that there's no power present in the switch before we get started to make sure that we don't accidentally electrocute ourselves. I have one of these little pen testers that anybody can pick up from Home Depot, and we're just going to kind of try to reach in and see if we can see any power. And the tester isn't going off and it's not showing anything. So we still need to be careful because this is something that we definitely have issues with. These little testers aren't the most reliable sometimes. So we're going to remove the screws from the switch. And again, the same thing. This is a much better example. You can see where they've previously painted over the switch. And if I just go to pull this out, there is a good chance that I will damage the drywall underneath because the paint will peel off and it'll damage all of that. So I'm going to take my razor knife and I'm just going to score the paint a little bit so that when this thing breaks loose, I don't get a big nasty tear, because that's often what happens is it will just rip down the wall. It looks really bad. So now that I got the switch out, we're going to look at the side and we're going to verify if power's there or not again. We're going to double check. So now I have a red light. It is showing that there's power present in the switch. I don't like trusting these things all the time though, because I have had them falsely say that there is no power when there is, or the other way around. So I like to test everything with an electric meter. This one is by Fluke. There's a bunch of different manufacturers. But if you're going to be looking for a true reading of power, this is really the only way to get it. So I'm going to attach one end to the ground here and the other end to my wires to see if we've got voltage. And we do. We have 113 volts present. So we're going to go to the breaker panel and we're going to get this switch shut off so we can work it safely. One of the things to really consider whenever you're working with anything in a box or any electrical, if you ever feel uncomfortable, this is something at High Five that we would love to help you out with. I know that electrical is a little bit intimidating. If you ever feel like you're in a little over your head, please give us a call. We'd love to come help you out. Now that we have power shut off at the panel, we're going to come back in and we are just going to verify that we did actually get all of the power shut off. Testing with my little pen tester. That's not showing anything, so I am just going to verify once again with my meter to make sure that we did actually kill the power. I've definitely had those little pens tell me there was no power present, and it has actually bit me before. So just verifying, we do have 0 volts across the board, which is wonderful. We now know that this is safe to work, and I am not going to have any electricity trying to get at me when we're doing this. So one of the first things that you'll notice, I'm glad that we are replacing this switch today. We have what's called at the back here, it's called backstabbing. You can see that there is a space for the wire to land under the screw terminals, but with a lot of devices that are rated for 15 amps or less, they have these little holes in the back that you can directly stuff the wire into the back of the device. As a service electrician, it's one of the things that we hate to see the most. It is a legal way to do things, but what happens here is it's kind of like a poor finger trap, and there's 2 little pieces of brass that the wire is trying to clip into, and it doesn't make a very good connection, and it's very easy for it to just pull out. With something like this, you would want to land the wire underneath the screw so it gets a much better connection, and it's something that's going to last for the life of the device. and you're gonna be much happier with that. You're gonna have less flickering lights, less loss of power. It's just gonna be a much better situation all over. Because this outlet is backstabbed, it's a little bit more difficult to get the wires out. One of the first things that we're gonna do is get this ground out of my way, because I know that there is no power present. Normally this would be one of the last things that you disconnect, because it's the safety wire, and it's gonna make sure that if anything does happen, none of that energy travels into your body. It goes to ground where it's safer. Once we get that connected, you have two options. You can either cut the wires out, or what I like to try to do is try to wiggle them. So if you wiggle them back and forth a lot of the time, the wires just pop right out, and they should not be doing that. It's one of the reasons why we hate to see backstabbing. Let me get this other one out. And see, this one's got a good bite. This one's stuck in there well. Let's see if this other, yeah. So these two actually made good connections, but of the three, one of them has already failed. So we're gonna go ahead and cut these guys out. And we need to re-strip the wires so we can land them under our new switch. And today what we've got is a switch from a company called Legrand. It's one of the ones that we prefer to use over here at High5. They make really, really good high quality products. And like I was showing previously, this one has holes that you can put in the back, but if you look closely, you can see that there's actually a little plate underneath there that's gonna pinch the wire. That is not like the switch that I had previously, where you can see the wires stuffed in the back. This is more like the plates on the side, because this is a device rated for 20 amps. It's a higher commercial grade. That's all that we use at High5, is significantly better products than what you can generally find at just Home Depot. So when you're putting this thing in, you need to make sure that you identified and you know which the switch legs are and which one the hot leg is. So this is the one that's going to be bringing power in. We saw it on the last switch. So I'm going to land that underneath in the hole, and you need to verify that it is underneath that plate, and you're just going to tighten this guy down. Make sure that you've got a good connection, that everything is tight and nothing is going to pull out the back of the box. And same thing, we're just going to land these other two switch legs on the device. Straighten the ground out so that it can fit underneath the plate for this ground screw. It's going to land right here. We now have our switch wired back up and ready to put back into the wall. So when you go to put the switch back into the wall, one of the important things is to make sure that the wire is minded well as it goes back in there. We do have this bare copper wire, and you want to make sure that it doesn't have the potential to push into any other devices that are in the box. One of the things that I really like to do is just make sure that the wire bends properly where you want it to go. So I'm going to put my finger back here and push up on the wire to get that bend started. And I'm going to do the same thing here and just kind of bend it back down so I get that nice kind of S. And as I push everything back into the wall, it's just going to set in there nice and easy for me. I'm just going to tighten my screws back down to secure the outlet or the switch back into the box. Once I have the switch back in, we can put the cover plate back on. The new switch is a slightly different color. It's a little bit white, and it's just because the switch that I replaced it with is a little bit newer. As you use these things, just the regular usage, they tend to get dirty. We could put a new cover plate on this one, or after a couple of weeks, it'll probably end up looking exactly the same as the one next to it. Now that we have the switch put back into the wall, the cover plate put back on, and we've gone outside and we've turned the breaker back on, all we have left to do is test the light and see whether or not it works. So we're gonna flip the switch. The lights are coming on like they're supposed to. As we slide the bar up and down, the lights are dimming. Looks like it's another successful install and everything is doing what we expected it to. Thank you very much for watching, and we hope that you found the video educational. And if we can help you out with anything inside the home, please don't hesitate to ask. We love to educate and we love to make sure that people are safe inside their homes. Thank you for watching today.